Sweet Malachi. Bum, bum, bum. No? All right. What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. Well, all the smoke has settled and the dust has cleared. How are we feeling now about these two draft picks? Not named Jeremy Sohan. I've already done a video in-depth scouting report on him, but I thought, you know what? I haven't done a scouting report and thoughts on Malachi Branham and Blake Wesley due to time constraints. I'm finally going to address it this weekend. And now that time has gone by, I want to give my thoughts if I still like these picks, if I dislike them, where I stand. My original draft grade, I believe, for Malachi was a B, and then for Blake Wesley a C, and overall I gave the Spurs a B. So did I change them? Drop a comment down below. You feel a little better after some time has passed? You're still kind of feeling like, oh, Brian Wright blew the draft again. We drafted too many guards. Let me know in the comments. Hit that thumbs up, like, support our fellow Spurs channel, and subscribe for more Spurs content. So let's get into Malachi Branham. Yes, it's an Atlanta Hawks draft profile website, but I thought they did a really good job. It was written Sports Illustrated. So anyway, what's he going to bring to the Spurs? Well, he's a 6'5", 180-pound, 19-year-old. All the Spurs draft picks were 19 that they kept. And he's a shooting guard and a freshman out of Ohio State. So yes, another guard, but I'm going to touch on that on the back end of the video and what's going to happen, I think, with our guards moving forward. So Malachi Branham, let's first talk about his offense, as that's one of the biggest reasons that he was drafted. The purity and depth of Branham's offensive game are truly remarkable. He's someone who can not only create scoring looks on his own, but also score off the ball as well. His smooth body control and excellent court vision grant him a big leg up at finding the lanes he can exploit inside. But what's most impressive about Branham's talent is his mid-range game. He finds its spots so well, and even when he explodes to the hoop, Branham's ability to abruptly stop and pull up makes him very difficult to stay in front of. He's a scorer. Let's take a look at a three-point shot in transition for Malachi. Here we go. Fast break. Maybe not a fast break. And stop, pop, swish. Admittedly, that is something our San Antonio Spurs need. They need three-point shooting. And I know Jeremy Sohan's not a three-point shooter. He shot only about 30% last year, so a lot of you are talking about floor spacing. While he's not going to help it, we have to remember Derek White was a terrible three-point shooter with the Spurs last year, only hitting 31% of his shots. So in short, yes, some of the guys we drafted aren't going to be the best three-point shooters. Blake Wesley, also one of them. But the current roster needs to get better. DeJounte, Devin need to get their percentages up 3 to 4%. We saw Keldon Johnson jump from 33 to 44%, I believe, in the last 2 years. The guys got to get better that are out there. Anyway, I digress. Let's keep talking about Malachi. In 31 games started for the Buckeyes, Branham scored an average of 13.7 points per game on 49.8% shooting from the field and 41.6% from beyond the arc, tallying 3.6 rebounds and 2-point assists as well. Over his first and only season at Ohio State, he dropped two 30-point games. On January 2nd, he put up a career-high 35 points on 68% shooting from the field and 60% from beyond the arc in an overtime win against Nebraska. Later in February, he would post a 31-point game against Illinois, this time shooting 71% from the field while sinking his only three-point attempt. So the man is a scorer, and I think that's going to be one of his primary roles when he gets called up to San Antonio. I'll have that in my closing thought on Malachi. In short, his offensive talent is the real deal. With a deep range of skills at his disposal, he is a complete scorer. Does he bring any defense? All right. He isn't the most aggressive and assertive defender at the guard position within the draft class. That said, that doesn't mean he can't play good defense. So already he's not Bryn Forbes 2.0. Bryn, I love you, but come on, you didn't play me. With a tall, long frame, and he's got height on him as well, of course, and a 6'11 wingspan, Branham is adept at using his athleticism to his advantage defensively and doesn't make it easy for guards to get by him. So here is a steal right about there. Off and running in transition. And Malachi with the thunder dunk up just. All right. We'll save that for the regular season. Hey, we saw a lot of guys do that last year. Devin Vassell, DeJounte caused a turnover and then just coast to coast and finish what you started. So he brings that to the team. That's good. But what makes him really stand out as a defender is his sharp court awareness as well as his active hands and anticipation, which we saw right there. Let's talk about Malachi's upside. Though Branham could take a little time to come into his own in the NBA due to his youth and lack of collegiate experience, 1 year, he has all the tools to develop and improve into the star he can be year after year. And here's another little thunder dunk of justice. Let me get this lined up for you. There he is, transitioning through the defense, and boom, shakalaka with a very difficult reach around dunk. uh, on the defense. Oh my, Rich. Oh my. Anyway, let's that never happened. Downside: he's not a perfect draft pick. Of course, every player has holes in their game. Despite his potential and gift for scoring, Branham isn't the strongest defender. From his inconsistencies with his balance to his inability to work over screens when guarding his man, Branham also struggled to be more assertive in gathering steals and blocks, considering he stands at 6'5" and has a long wingspan to show for it. As a result, his on-ball defending could pose some issues in the backcourt. So we didn't draft him for his defense. I think we drafted him for the offense, something that we could clearly use off the bench. Oh, that's it. So let me get into my closing thoughts in regards to Malachi and why him, I guess. The Spurs drafted him. So I see his role. I think he'll be a scorer off the bench with potential defensive upside based on his length and his anticipation, etc. If he joins San Antonio this year, and I think he will. I think he's going to start with the Austin Spurs and likely get called up on some point. He does bring 3-level scoring, and it is a good pick with upside. We saw the Spurs last season have very long stretches in games where they couldn't score, and at one point they had the lead. They'd be up by 10, 5, and then immediately they just total pendulum swung to the other side, and the other team had a 5 to 10 point lead. So having another scorer off the bench, guy that can bring it and score from anywhere, is something that he could do. It sounds like if and when he plays with San Antonio this year, and I think, and I've seen a lot of you say this, I think the Spurs drafted him to take Lonnie Walker's spot. I am going to update the draft grade. I do like this pick more, and in reading, it seems like he could have potentially been a lottery pick. I think he was in the green room. So I'm going to give it an A minus. I actually do like this pick more. In regards to the other pick we had in the draft, that was Blake Wesley, another guard, a quick, shifty, and lengthy guard out of Notre Dame. His vitals: he's 6'4". This another 6'4" guard, which is kind of the running joke with our Spurs. 187 pounds, a 6'9", 6'9" wingspan, and he's 19, keeping on the 19 tradition. What are his strengths? The pick and roll play. This is big. The biggest source of offense in the NBA is the pick and roll. DeJounte loves to run it with Jakob. So much of the offense run in today's league is at least based in pick and roll. This is something that Blake Wesley excels at. He has great eyes for making the right reads in pick and roll situations. He hits the big man when he's open, and he can also hit players that are being helped off of. Using head fakes and misdirection, he's able to manipulate the defense and free up looks for his teammates. He's a threat out of pick and roll that is a huge, huge thing in the NBA. We're going to see a little pick and roll action right about now. Top left, pick and roll. Drives, gets by the defense, and throws up a thunder layup of justice. Okay, I don't think that one's going to stick. Moving right along, as far as his perimeter defense, one area of the game that Blake Wesley left his impact on at Notre Dame was his perimeter defense. He was one of the better point of attack defenders in this class. He has a long wingspan, and he uses it to disrupt passing lanes. He's good at turning defenses into offense, and in general, just a pain in the butt for the opposing offense. All right, so he's going to annoy out there. Cool. He has some issues with his weight and strength, being pretty skinny in general. I'll hate towards the skinny folks, man. However, he has worked on it since the offseason. He has free safety skills and his free... That, I just totally went to NFL mode there. I'm sorry. I heard free safety, and I immediately my brain shut off. He has free safety skills and is good at anticipating, unless they are making an NFL reference, good at anticipating passes. In transition, he often was able to get steals and turn it into a bucket in the open floor. His wingspan makes that anticipatory skill set even more deadly. And here we are, another. Let's see. Oh, wow. That happened very fast. And a thunder dunk of justice. We're going to take a look at this again. That is. All right. So you can see the player in the back is about to pass it up to the other player right at midcourt. And I don't know. Can you see my pointing thingy on there? I don't know if you can see my arrow. I don't know if it works like that. But he is actually, you can already see, if you look right where the coach is standing, right by the ACCN board back there, Blake Wesley is anticipating that pass very early, to his credit. So, I mean, that ball is not even out of the hands yet, out of number 2. And bang! Okay. All right. I see what you did there. Oops. I see what you did there, and I like it. So, okay, anticipation. Okay, good. Improvement areas, finishing and shooting. Never want to have to improve on finishing, guys. Blake Wesley really struggled at times to finish around the rim. He only shot 41.4% on rim attempts outside of dunks this past season. He has touch issues and can go too fast sometimes. Too fast in finishing. With his shooting, he lacks he looks good doing it, but the results weren't always there. He shot only 30.3% from beyond the three-point line. Okay, I can see why some Spurs fans now, with more time to do some research. And again, my apologies. Life happens. I have a job. I do have three other channels besides this one, another YouTube channel, and two Rumble channels. So I'm very this. I don't talk about it a lot, but I'm very busy. I don't know if more. No, you know that, and I don't know how many you know that, but I actually have four channels right now. This channel I obviously devote the most time to by far. Um, that's two out of the three players we drafted that can't hit the three. With Malachi, the only one that can, drain the three. So I can see why you guys are having some concerns with floor spacing in the future, I suppose. But, they can always get better. Chip Engelland, I know we feel like, he's the guy, and he's certainly developed some players. Sometimes we overrate him, thinking that he can turn charcoal into a diamond. I mean, Jakob Poeltl still can't hit a free throw. He's actually gotten worse since his days with Toronto. So, yes, he's a great shooting coach, but again, it's going to depend on the player to make it happen. You could have the best coach on the planet, and the player's not looking to put in the time, or just doesn't care. It's not gonna get fixed. And the verdict: Blake Wesley is someone who has a lot of positives in his game. The pick and roll passing and scoring is something to get really excited about. Okay. So I know more about him than I did yesterday. That being said, my draft grade's still a C. I'm not the biggest fan of this pick. He's going to go to the G League to start, and he could get called up at some point this season, just depending on how many guards the Spurs part with, and I'll cover that in the very end of the video. I hear the upside. I just want to look at the roster. DeJounte Murray, clearly our starting point guard. Tre Jones, if he stays on the roster, currently the backup. Joshua Primo, I think they want him to play. I assume he's going to play point as well. So where does he eventually fit in? When does he get minutes? He doesn't. There's other players that I would have. EJ Liddell, I think I'd rather had at this spot, simply because I think KBD's probably going to be off the team, and we're going to need another forward. I know he's maybe a little undersized, but that would have been my pick. But it is what it is. My updated overall draft grade, I said it was a B at the starting of the video. Even though I updated Malachi, I shifted up on Malachi, I'm much more excited about that pick. I'm still giving it a B. I wanted two lottery picks. I didn't want to pick four guys. I know we traded the last player away. I don't even remember his name. My apologies. I know once a Spur, always a Spur. But wasn't even a Spur? I guess he was a Spur. I don't know. I was hoping we get two lottery picks. Keep number 9 and then do something with a player and one of those 20 picks and get up into the top 14. And we saw the Pistons pull off two lottery picks. They drafted Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren. They have, two two day one starters now on their roster that could be the future of their franchise for the next 10 to 15 years. And I was hoping to see that of the Spurs. My ideal situation, I mentioned this before, and obviously you have to have teams that are willing to trade, and maybe nobody was willing to trade with the Spurs, but I would have liked Duren at 9 and Jeremy Sohan between 13 and 15. It didn't happen like that. I am overall happy with the draft. I don't think it's a total F or F minus. Some people hate the draft, but the thing is, we all love the team, but we all have and are going to have different opinions on what's going to fix the San Antonio Spurs. And just because somebody doesn't agree with their opinion doesn't mean, they suck. A lot of you don't agree with my take on the draft. That's fine. I might not agree with your take. In the end, one thing we can agree with is we want our Spurs to win and get out of the losing column where we've been the last 3 years. And let's also hope, even if any of these players that I'm not kind of so-so on or you're so-so on, let's hope they prove us wrong and become Spurs for life. All right, my closing thoughts. I said I was going to circle back to this. The big question for me going forward is just how many of the Spurs are going to be gone that are at the guard positions. I think we may unload a lot of our current guards. I think Lonnie Walker is all but gone. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of you that are fans. I think with drafting Malachi, that means Lonnie is on his way out. Josh Richardson, I could see the San Antonio Spurs looking to trade him to a team that could use a strong three-point shooter, scorer, defensive player off the bench. I also think that Tre Jones might not get re-signed if Joshua Primo is going to be the primary point guard off the bench. I really feel like he's going to get a bigger role. I don't think he's going to start this season. I think he's going to have a much more bigger role off the bench, and I think they're going to have him run point. I could be wrong. And then there's also Romeo Langford, who is always injured. I think they're going to try to unload him in any way he can. And if they get rid of, I don't want to get rid of, but if they move on from the four guards I just mentioned, Lonnie Walker, Josh Richardson, Tre Jones, and Romeo Langford, that's a -4 to the amount of guards on the roster. And with our draft, we drafted 2 guards. So overall, that would be a -2. So it is a step in the right direction. We might not agree with some of the players or any of the players that were drafted, but I'm rooting that all these picks hit. And very curious to see what we do in the offseason. There's some talk, sign and trade Jakob Poeltl to the Suns for DeAndre Ayton, which I think they would have to obviously do a sign and trade as well because he's a restricted free agent. I don't know what's going to happen. Free agency is going to be very exciting. And if one or two or all three of these guys are playing for San Antonio later this season or at the start of the season, then good on them. And I hope this draft grade a year from now, if I look back, I go, man, the Spurs crushed it. A plus. Thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate you. And as always, go Spurs go!